Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Deanna and you're watching ORCHID. I have a very special video today. One of my viewers, Bailey W, saw my wishlist video and offered me one of her Phalaenopsis manana keikis. But as you can see by this box, she has given me a little more than just one keiki. Now this was originally an unboxing, however my camera has just been playing tricks on me all week, and during this filming it was just being a nightmare. So unfortunately there's no unboxing. I'm going to show you what's inside however. As you guys might know, I love Phalaenopsis orchids. I love the complex hybrids. I have a whole room dedicated to them, but the species phals are also some of my absolute favorite orchids. So to receive this from a viewer is such a kind, lovely, generous gesture. So thank you so much, Bailey, for this. Now most of my species phals are just seedlings, and they're all kept together with my more mature summer bloomers upstairs on that western facing landing, and most of them aren't doing too badly. They all definitely do their best work in the summer months. In winter I do need to be careful to keep an eye on them, and this video I'm also going to show you a couple of my species phals that aren't doing too well, and they've started to struggle as the weather's cooled. So before I show you what I got from Bailey, let me show you some signs of struggling species Phalaenopsis and why they've declined. So on the left here we have what was supposed to be a violacea variation indigo, but it wasn't. That's another story, another eBay fail. And then on the right we have a Phalaenopsis bellina. Now this violacea has started yellowing off its flower spike, as you can see, and the same thing sort of happened to this bellina. It lost its most recent flower spike, and also it lost a lower leaf. I think it's lost two actually. So I repotted it around March. So we had some cool weeks during late March and it started happening then. When I took it out, some of the roots were rotting off, so it really needed that new setup, some fresh media, and now it's recovering, it's growing a new leaf. The same thing is now happening to this violacea, and I'll show you the reasons why I think it's doing what it's doing, but you can see the lowest leaf there has some chlorosis around its edges. It's looking yellow, and look, this is not normal winter behavior. So the species Phalaenopsis really do a lot of work in summer. They are very thirsty in summer. I don't even really let them dry out very much. I let them just dry out a little bit, but mostly they're kept evenly moist throughout my summer because they're working really hard, and they are really thirsty. But then they slow right down in winter, or at least mine do, because they still get to about 14 degrees Celsius on my landing, and this year they're actually kept by the window, so I guess they kind of feel that cold a little bit more, and I didn't realize. Now, one of the drawbacks of my current watering regime is that my roots and my plants probably don't get checked as often as they used to. In the past, I used to take all my pots to my water source, water them, and then put them back in their decorative containers, but now I water my plants in situ, and I've got my whole setup this way, and I've decided to continue doing it through this winter and just see what happens. But obviously it's a little bit of a learning curve, so this is really just a big lesson to me to make sure that I reduce my watering in accordance with what the plants are doing at the time, and also just to keep an eye on the root systems while the seasons are changing. Now, if you're wondering, yes, I have debated whether I should put my plants back into trays and take the trays to my water source. However, for now I'm keeping with the system I have with my sprayer because it just saves me so much time. So this in turn just fits in better with my lifestyle, and it just seems like a less daunting task every time I do need to water. So I guess really I'm trying to find a balance for myself where I'm not put off the maintenance tasks for my orchids, but still trying to provide them with the best care I can. But I do believe the downfall of this violacea can be put down to the decorative container that I kept it in, and this is it. So you can see what a snug fit that is, and really it just gives no room for error. So it was fine during summer. It was in this pot all through spring, summer, and it was doing just fine, but obviously in winter it just did not allow enough airflow around the root system, and with my watering technique I didn't check it and the roots got too cool, it wasn't consuming the water, and the roots have rotted. Now if we take a closer look at the roots, I think it's pretty clear to see what's gone wrong here. Hopefully I've gotten to it in time, but you can see that there's definitely some root rot going on in there. And if we look down at the bottom of the pot, you can see what's happened. So this has rested right down the bottom of the cold, wet pot, and you can see the little fungal spores there. So those have completely killed off those roots down the bottom, and that infection is actually traveling up the roots, and hopefully it hasn't reached the stem of the plant yet. Alright guys, so let's have a look at what's inside this pot, and let me pre-warn you, but it is not a pretty sight. It is actually really disgusting what's in here. Bailey, if you're watching this, I promise I'll take very, very good care of your babies, but I think it's really important on this channel to show you the good and the bad, and this is definitely the bad, but I don't think I'm the only one that, you know, has to troubleshoot problems when indoor growing. And look here, we have a rampant fungal infection going on inside this pot, and it is really, really feral. So I am going to clean off all the dead roots, and there are still some roots that look viable but sort of may have been infected, so they're all going to, I am going to pretty much remove all the media I possibly can, and then this entire root system is going to soak in a systemic fungicide for a few hours, with a tiny bit of bleach added as well. And then a very important step in the meantime is to sterilize the tools that I've used really, really thoroughly. Make sure I clean off this tray really thoroughly with alcohol, and probably burn the gloves that I'm currently using. So here are the little babies from Bailey. They're all just little keikis, or seedlings that she had doubles of, and they're so beautifully packaged. Oh my goodness. So I really, really wanted to pay or, you know, do a swap of some kind, but Bailey insisted that this was a gift, and also she used to work at an orchid nursery, which is why these guys are just so impeccably packaged. I'm just so grateful. They're so beautiful. Thank you so much, Bailey. For everyone else, I'm really sorry, but the camera just did not capture any of the unboxing, and then it just started having a hissy fit, didn't record any audio, so I lost the rest of the footage from tonight. But luckily I do have some footage from after I potted all these little ones up. Okay, so this is 2 days later, and I finally got one of my stupid cameras to work. So I have managed to pot up most of the bare rooted plants that she's given me, and I've kept the smaller ones that were potted up in their own sphagnum just in situ, and I'll probably repot them when it comes to spring because they seem pretty happy in the sphagnum. And the sphagnum she uses is actually, I think, very similar, or might even be the same as I use. It's really nice quality long fiber sphagnum, so I didn't see any point in changing it up. So let's quickly go through what we've got. I've got Phalaenopsis Magic Art here, and Bailey sent this to me because she actually got a replacement for this plant because the leaves were damaged. So that's okay with me. I can definitely deal with a broken leaf here and there because the plant still looks super healthy, and we've got lots of roots down there going into the medium. Next up we've got Phalaenopsis Intermediate all potted up, and I must admit I hadn't heard of Phalaenopsis Intermediate previously, but apparently it is a naturally occurring hybrid, and I can't remember the name of the species that go into the hybrid, but I will put it on the screen. Anyhow, it's basically a primary hybrid, and I've read that it is a hot growing summer bloomer which develops these long beautiful branching inflorescences. And you can see that this one is blooming off a new branch of an old spike. So that'll be nice, getting some blooms soon on this little plant. Next up, we've got probably the craziest little keiki of them all. This is Phalaenopsis pallens, and apparently it's a 4th generation keiki because it just constantly throws out keikis from its flower spikes. and this one actually came with, I think, 4 flower spikes. However, one of them broke in the mail and I accidentally broke another one while I was repotting, but you can sort of see down the bottom there's one coming out from under the plant, there's one coming out here, and if we check out the original flower stem or spike that it's grown off, you can see at the next node above that there's something weird happening. There's another root that's sort of coming down from it, and I'm not sure if that's another keiki or the flower spike continuing to grow up there, maybe both even. I have no idea, but this is a crazy plant and I'm really looking forward to seeing what it's going to do. Anyhow, it is sitting quite high up there on the pot. It had a lot of stiff roots there, which I did soak for about 2 or 3 hours before I potted it up. And next up we have Doritos regneriana, and you wouldn't believe how many takes it took me to say that, and I still don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, so let me know. But anyhow, we have a nice established plant there with a few little basil keikis, and look at all those crazy roots coming out from the middle of the stem there. So I think that should grow quite nicely. I'm very happy to keep this one in its pot as well, because it looks like it's just happy in there at the moment. Next up we've got a few smaller plants, small seedlings, and a couple of them are keikis as well. They're just going to stay in their original containers, but the first one we have here is this very gorgeous looking Phalaenopsis Tatiana variation Nobilis, which is actually a little yellow variety which looks super cute. The foliage isn't mottled like the regular Tatiana, but I think the flowers are going to more than make up for that. And next we've got a Phalaenopsis cornucervi, and this is supposedly a yellow variety, which I don't have. I do have a red variety, and it's a very, very cute little species phal, so happy to have another one. And here we've got a little Phalaenopsis mariae keiki. I do actually have a mariae apparently, but it's kind of labelled as a fasciata and query mariae, and also it's never done particularly well, so I'm quite happy to have another one. And you can see this one has a new little root nubbin progressing there, which is always a good sign. And we've got Phalaenopsis modesta, which I have to admit I also had to look up, and it is a beautiful flower. Looks like we've got some fine little roots down there with a new root nubbin emerging from there as well. And last of all, of course, the reason for this entire parcel, the Phalaenopsis luda keikis. And I've got 2 little keikis here, but their roots were so stiff that I thought it would have been a good idea to soak them before I potted them up. So you can see these guys have actually been soaking like for 24 hours now. So as soon as this is finished filming, I will be potting them up, and hopefully the roots are soft enough. I'm not sure if I can fit them in really smoothly, and I am still worried about breaking them even though they've been soaking, but I don't keep orchids mounted, so these guys will definitely just have to go in a pot, but I will probably separate them out into 2 different pots. And just before I go, I want to show you guys the finished result of the potted up Phalaenopsis violacea, and hopefully we got to it in time. It was quite a mess, but it's been soaking in fungicide for about 24 hours actually, so I hope that was enough to save this plant. Anyhow, the little flower spike is definitely going to be lost, and I will probably lose that lowest leaf as well, but we'll just keep an eye on it and, I don't know, cross our fingers I guess that we saved it in time. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video, and Bailey, oh my goodness, like thank you so very much for these plants. This is just one of the most kind, generous things that a stranger has ever done for me, honestly. Like, it is so sweet. Thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. Like, it's heartwarming. I opened that box and I was just lost for words. It was just impeccably packaged, and the plants are stunning. They're so beautiful, and so thank you for sharing them with me and allowing me to share this with everybody else. please give this video a big thumbs up to thank Bailey, and I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Happy growing until I see you next time. Bye!